Imagine this. You wake up one morning, stretch like usual, but something's off. You swing your legs over the bed, push yourself up, and suddenly your knees don't get the memo. You sink back down like a sack of potatoes. Twice. No injury. No warning. Just weak. Now, if you're over 60, this moment might feel all too familiar or uncomfortably close to home. And I hate to say it, but that sinking feeling? That's not just getting old. It's Sarcopenia's silent muscle thief. And trust me, this guy doesn't knock before barging in. Cut to a scene from a real-life ER case. An older gentleman, not much over 70, ends up in the emergency room not because of illness, but because he simply couldn't get off the toilet. No joke. That was the call. The EMTs had to carry him out completely conscious. No fractures. No strokes, just pure muscle loss. You can almost hear the awkward silence as his grandson tries not to make eye contact. Now, I don't tell you this to embarrass anyone. Quite the opposite. I'm here to wake you up. Because here's the truth. Muscle doesn't vanish overnight. But when it's gone, it takes a hell of a lot more effort to get it back. So let me ask you something. Do you get tired just walking across the room? Is that jar of pickles starting to win the battle? Are your stairs beginning to look like Everest? Then chances are your muscles are waving a white flag and you didn't even know it. But here's the good news. You can turn it around. In today's video, I'm going to show you the 5 essential foods that can help you rebuild, restore, and protect your muscles even if you're already noticing weakness. These aren't exotic berries flown in from an enchanted mountaintop. We're talking real food, easy to get, easy to eat, scientifically backed. And stick around till the end, because number 3 might already be in your kitchen but you're using it all wrong. Plus, I'll share what happened when I added one missing nutrient to my patients' diets and saw their legs go from jelly to jumpstart in just a few weeks. Let's get into it. 1. The wake-up call. Why do I feel weaker every week? So let me paint you a picture. You're at the grocery store just picking up a few things. You reach for that bag of rice, maybe 5 pounds at most, and suddenly, your arm feels like it's lifting a small anvil. You sort of laugh it off, shake it out. Must have slept weird, you tell yourself. But then it happens again next week. And again. This time it's not the rice. It's opening a stubborn jar. Or climbing stairs. Or carrying laundry. You start thinking, wait, why do I feel weaker every week? That right there? That's your wake-up call. Now hold that thought because I want to show you a clip from a rehab center in Osaka where I used to consult. This one still hits me in the gut. There's a gentleman 76, former police officer built like a tree in his prime. But now, he's gripping a walker, his knees trembling just from standing. Not from disease. Not from trauma. From something much sneakier. He looks straight at the camera and says, I used to chase thieves. Now I can't chase my dog. I've seen this story play out thousands of times in both the US and Japan. And almost every time, the patient says the same thing. I didn't even notice it happening, until it did. Here's why that matters. Muscle loss doesn't show up like a car alarm. It's more like a slow leak. You don't hear it but one day, the tires are flat and you're stuck in the driveway. In medical terms, we call this sarcopenia, but let's just call it what it is. Your muscles are packing up and leaving the party early. And if you're over 60, it's not just about getting older. No, now there's way more to the story, which we'll get to in a moment. But before we dive deeper into the science of what's really going on inside your body, let me share a quick insight from my clinic in Tokyo. One of my patients, a retired engineer, came in complaining he just didn't feel like himself. No chest pain, no fever, just this slow drain, like life was getting heavier. After a few tests, boom, severe vitamin deficiency, muscle loss in progress, but completely reversible. So here's the kicker. If you're feeling weaker every week, it's not in your head. And it's definitely not just age. There's a missing piece, and when we add it back in, that's when the lights come on again. Up next, I'm going to show you exactly what causes this silent breakdown and why your body might be starving for strength even if you think you're eating healthy. Let's dig in. 2. The real enemy isn't just aging. Alright, so let's get one thing straight right now. The real enemy is not just aging. Yeah, I said it. Because if aging alone caused muscle loss, then everyone over 60 would be too weak to tie their shoes. But that's not the case, is it? You and I both know someone in their 70s who can still garden, bike, or chase their grandkids around like it's recess. Meanwhile, someone else the same age needs help getting out of a chair. So what's really going on here? Let me take you back to a moment in my clinic in Kyoto. A couple both 68 walked in for a routine checkup. Same age, same general health. But the husband struggled to get on the exam table, while his wife literally hopped up like she was jumping onto a karaoke stage. What was the difference? Well, spoiler alert, it wasn't age. It was nutrition, lifestyle, muscle use, hormones, and a big fat case of chronic inflammation that had been silently chewing away at his strength for years. See, age is just the fuel. The real match? It's this cocktail of modern problems we all deal with. Not eating enough protein or getting the right vitamins. Sitting more than we move. Chronic stress that messes with your hormones. And let's not forget, the microwave dinner habit. Don't worry, I'm not judging. I've been there too. In medical speak, we call this the perfect storm for sarcopenia. That's the technical name for muscle loss. But you know what I like to call it? The great disappearing act. It sneaks up. It hides behind, I'm just tired, or I'll bounce back next week. But it doesn't bounce back on its own. It needs help. Let's take a quick look at this chart from a study done in Nagoya. Two groups of seniors same age, same health markers, but one group ate a diet rich in anti-inflammatory nutrients and got light exercise daily. The other, not so much. The result? Over 18 months, the second group lost 12% more muscle mass. That's the equivalent of aging 15 years in function, not just in birthday candles. Here's the kicker, muscle loss isn't just about strength. It's about balance, metabolism, blood sugar control, even brain health. So if you've ever told yourself, I'm just getting older, I'm here to gently say, no friend, you might just be getting underfueled. And that brings us to something powerful. Because if the enemy isn't age, then that means we can fight back. And you don't need a personal chef or a gym membership to do it. Just a few specific foods, ones that most seniors overlook, can completely shift the balance in your favor. Coming up next, I'm going to introduce you to the most overlooked muscle-protecting combo that works like a personal trainer from the inside out. Let's go. 3. Meet your muscle's best friend. The forgotten vitamin combo. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you heard someone say, you know what really helped my muscles? B12 and D3. Exactly. Probably never. But guess what? If your muscles could talk, they'd be screaming for these two like kids at a Beatles concert in the 60s. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this is just another supplement pitch, stick with me. I'm not here to sell you magic in a bottle. I'm here to share what I've seen happen over and over again in my clinic. And believe me, it's nothing short of transformational. Let's set the scene. A retired English teacher named Joyce came to see me in Tokyo. Lovely woman, big smile. But the moment she tried to lift her purse from the floor, wobble. Knees buckled like cheap deck chairs. She said, I don't get it, doc. I eat clean. I walk every day. Why am I still losing strength? I looked at her chart. Blood work showed low B12 and barely there vitamin D3. And here's the kicker. She wasn't alone. More than 40% of older adults in the US and Japan are deficient in one or both of these. Yet we rarely talk about it. So what do these two actually do? Let's break it down, plain and simple. Vitamin D3 is like the on switch for muscle function. Without it, your muscles can't contract properly. Think of trying to start your car without a battery. Everything's there, but nothing's moving. D3 also helps regulate calcium, which is essential for not just bone health, but also nerve-to-muscle communication. Then there's B12, the underdog. It supports red blood cell production and nerve health, which means it keeps those signals from your brain to your biceps flowing like a jazz solo, smooth and efficient. Without B12, muscles get weaker, reaction time slows, and fatigue becomes your permanent +1. And here's the spicy part. If you're over 60, your stomach's ability to absorb B12 plummets. Even if you're eating enough, you might not be absorbing it. Now, I know what some folks are thinking, but I'm not vegetarian, I eat eggs and meat. True, but are your levels optimal? Because muscle preservation isn't about bare minimums. It's about getting enough to actually thrive. Let me put it this way. Taking care of your muscles without B12 and D3 is like trying to fix a roof leak using a napkin. You're doing something but not enough. And here's what I saw when I supplemented Joyce. Within 6 weeks, she walked back in holding a tote bag that could have doubled as a kettlebell. She said, "I don't know what's in that tiny pill, but I feel 10 years younger." It wasn't magic. It was just correcting what had been missing all along. So next up, you might be wondering, wait, if these vitamins are so important, and I'm already eating healthy, how am I still not getting enough? That's exactly what we're diving into next. Stay with me. It's about to get personal. For why eating healthy isn't enough. So here's the part that surprises people the most. You could be eating a perfectly balanced, healthy diet, salads, grilled chicken, wild-caught salmon, the whole rainbow, and still be deficient in the very vitamins your muscles are begging for. Sounds unfair, right? You do everything by the book. And the book left out a few pages. Let me tell you about a patient of mine in Osaka, Mr. Nakamura, 72 years old, proud of his morning miso soup, green tea, and walking club. He even carried around one of those stainless steel lunchboxes packed with brown rice, tofu, and pickled veggies. Looked like a food blogger's dream. But when he came into my clinic complaining that his legs felt hollow, like walking on sticks, I ran some tests. Low B12, barely there D3. How? He was eating clean. But here's the truth. Eating healthy isn't the same as eating effectively for muscle retention after 60. As we age, our body goes through what I call nutrient stubbornness. It's like your digestive system becomes a picky teenager. Suddenly, it stops absorbing the good stuff like it used to, especially nutrients that support muscle and nerve function. Vitamin B12, for example, requires a healthy stomach lining and intrinsic factor, a protein made in your stomach, to be absorbed properly. But many seniors have less stomach acid, or they're on acid-reducing medications. So even if you're getting enough B12 from your eggs or meat, your body might be ghosting it entirely. And let's not forget vitamin D3. You could be drinking milk, snacking on yogurt, even getting some Sunan, still be low. Why? Because D3 is fat-soluble. If you don't have enough dietary fiber, if your body's ability to process fat has slowed down, you're not absorbing much. Plus, darker skin tones, sunscreen, cloud cover, even living above certain latitudes in winter, all those reduce D3 synthesis from sunlight. It's like trying to charge your phone on 10% battery with a wire that looks fine, but isn't actually plugged in. So what do? We stop assuming our plates are telling the whole story. We start testing. We ask deeper questions. And we consider smart supplementation, not guesswork. I always say, a healthy meal is only as helpful as what your body can absorb from it. Now don't worry. This doesn't mean your kale is canceled. It means we need to be strategic, especially when it comes to supporting aging muscles. Coming up next, let's talk about just how fast muscle loss can creep in when your body is running low on these critical nutrients and what signs to watch out for before it's too late. You're not going to want to miss this. 5. How fast muscle loss happens without warning. Let me paint you a picture. You take a week off from walking because of a sore knee. No big deal, right? But the next time you head out for your usual stroll around the block, your legs feel like they've aged a decade. Your calves burn, your knees wobble, and suddenly, that park bench looks like the promised land. Sound familiar? Well, here's the kicker. Muscle loss doesn't tap you on the shoulder politely. It sneaks in while you're watching TV, while you're skipping workouts, while you're just living life. In medicine, we call this sarcopenia. But I like to call it the silent thief, because by the time you realize your strength is slipping, that thief has already made off with a good chunk of your muscle. Let me tell you what happened with one of my American patients living here in Kyoto. James, former Navy guy, proud gym regular, took a short break from exercise after twisting his ankle gardening. That short break turned into 2 months. when he finally returned to his weight routine. He couldn't lift half of what he used to. He looked at me and said, "Document, it's like my muscles went on vacation and forgot to come back." Here's what most people don't realize. After age 60, you can lose up to 3% of your muscle mass every year if you're not actively maintaining it. And it doesn't take years to feel the impact. In fact, one study found that just 10 days of complete bed rest in older adults led to significant loss of leg muscle and strength, like measurable shrinkage. And not the kind you fix with one trip to the gym. Now pair that with low B12, low D3, and the typical American or Japanese light senior diet. You're not just losing strength, you're losing mobility, metabolism, and your margin for safety. One small fall becomes a broken hip. One misstep becomes months of rehab. This is why I hammer this into my patients' heads. Muscle loss doesn't happen with a warning label, but recovery, that always comes with a cost. And it's harder, longer, and often incomplete. The goal here isn't just aesthetics. This isn't about flexing biceps in the mirror, this is about staying out of wheelchairs, walking unassisted, and picking up your grandkids without wincing. So don't wait for the wake-up call, because when muscle loss knocks on the door, it doesn't knock twice. Coming up next, I'll show you what happened when I started supplementing my own patients with the forgotten vitamin combo. And the results? You might just want to screenshot them. 6. Real results, what happened to my patients. So, let's talk results. Not theory. Not some study says. I'm talking about real people, real lives, and real muscle comebacks. Let me take you back to a tiny clinic just outside of Tokyo. Picture tatami floors, green tea in the waiting room, and a line of patients, most over 60, complaining of the same thing. "Doc, I just don't feel strong anymore." We're not talking about athletes here. These were retired teachers, factory workers, a judo coach who hadn't rolled in years. People who weren't weak mentally, but their bodies had started waving the white flag. That's when I decided to test something. I started supplementing these patients with a very specific combo. Vitamin D3 plus vitamin B12, daily, alongside a basic protein-rich diet. Nothing fancy. No weird powders or astronaut smoothies. And guess what happened? Let's start with Mrs. Sato, 73. She used to struggle just standing up from her futon. 2 months in, she walked into my clinic with her umbrella in one hand and a grocery bag in the other and said, "Sensei, I don't need help getting out of the bath anymore." Now I wish I could have recorded my face, because that, to me, was better than any lab test. Then there was David, 68, retired accountant from Seattle living in Osaka. He came in dragging his right leg slightly. Neuropathy. He had tingling, weakness, no energy to walk more than 5 minutes. We added B12. After 3 weeks, he emailed me, "I walked the entire Castle Park loop today without stopping. For the first time in a year." That's not magic. That's cellular function being restored. See, B12 helps maintain the myelin sheath, the protective layer around your nerves. Without it, communication between brain and muscle slows down like bad Wi-Fi. D3, meanwhile, supports calcium absorption, which helps your muscles contract. No D3, and those contractions feel like trying to start a car with a dead battery. Now imagine fixing both of those deficiencies in someone who's already losing muscle. That's like handing them back the keys to their body. Of course, this wasn't a miracle overnight. We paired the vitamins with simple movement sit-to-stand routines, short resistance bands, some light stair walking. But the supplements were the ignition switch. When the body finally gets what it's been starving for, it responds fast. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, what about side effects? Great question. I monitored liver enzymes, kidney markers, all clean. We weren't megadosing, just correcting undetected deficiencies that had quietly been robbing people of their strength for years. So if you're wondering whether it's worth getting your B12 and D3 levels checked, let me put it this way. You wouldn't ignore a car with no oil. Why ignore muscles running on empty? Coming up next, let's dive into the foods that support these vitamins and where even healthy eaters might be falling short. You might be surprised by what's missing from your fridge. 7. 5 power foods that turn back the clock. Let's talk about food. But not just any food. I'm talking about bite-sized time machines, foods that, quite literally, help your body rewind the muscle loss clock. And before you roll your eyes and say, "Let me guess, kale salad?" I promise these are foods you want to eat. 1. Eggs, the muscle multitasker. I know. Eggs again. Yes, again. Because they're that good. I had one 78-year-old patient, Mr. Tanaka, start eating 2 whole eggs a day after avoiding them for years because of outdated cholesterol fears. Within 6 weeks, his grip strength improved 17%. Not bad for something that costs less than a cup of coffee. Why do eggs work? They're packed with think of leucine, like the on switch for muscle growth. Plus, the yolk has choline and vitamin D, which improve nerve muscle communication and calcium uptake. In other words, your muscles talk clearer and move stronger. 2. Salmon, the anti-inflammation king. You want smoother joints and less sore muscles after walking to the mailbox? Eat salmon. Its omega-3s do something magical. They reduce the chronic inflammation that silently eats away at your muscle fibers. Bonus: it's loaded with high-quality protein and vitamin D. And yes, canned salmon counts. Just watch the sodium. 3. Greek yogurt, slow and steady fuel. Greek yogurt is like that reliable friend who sticks around and gets things done slowly but surely. It's rich in casein, a protein that digests over hours, giving your muscles a steady stream of building blocks all night long. One of my patients called it her bedtime muscle pudding. Add berries and a sprinkle of cinnamon, and boom, dessert meets therapy. 4. Spinach, Popeye was right. But it's not the iron that matters most, it's the nitrates. These compounds get converted into nitric oxide in your body, which opens up blood vessels and improves circulation. That means more nutrients and oxygen delivered to your tired muscles. Think of it like upgrading your plumbing: stronger flow, stronger you. 5. Lentils, the plant-based powerhouse. Lentils, the humble little bean with big benefits. 1 cooked cup gives you 18 grams of plant protein plus iron, magnesium, and zinc. That's a triple whammy for building muscle, reducing cramps, and improving oxygen flow. I once had a patient who added lentils 3 times a week. She called them gray hair fuel because the stronger she got, the younger she felt. Now here's the kicker. Even if you eat these foods, if your gut isn't absorbing nutrients well because of age, meds, or stress, you're still shortchanging your muscles. And that's why in the next section, we're going to break down why even healthy eaters might still be deficient and what to do about it. Stay tuned. It's about to get personal. 8. 3 muscle-killing mistakes to avoid. Let's be honest, sometimes it's not just what you're not doing. It's what you are doing that's quietly wrecking your muscles. And trust me, I've seen these mistakes in my clinic more times than I've seen boiled cabbage in a hospital tray, and that's saying something. Let's break down the top 3 muscle-killing mistakes I see folks over 60 making and how you can avoid them starting today. Mistake 1. The "I'm too old to lift weights" myth. You wouldn't believe how many patients tell me, "Oh doc, I'm not 20 anymore. I don't need weights, I just walk." Look, I love a good walk. Brisk walking is great for circulation, heart health, maybe even clearing your head after your grandkid asked you what TikTok is. But here's the truth. Walking doesn't build muscle. It maintains your heart and burns calories, sure. But without resistance, your muscle fibers aren't getting the stimulus they need to grow or stay strong. Even simple resistance bands or soup cans can make a huge difference. I had an 81-year-old patient who used water bottles to do bicep curls every other day after 8 weeks. She climbed stairs without holding the railing for the first time in 2 years. So next time someone says weightlifting's for the young, tell them, nope, it's for the wise. Mistake 2. Skipping protein at breakfast. This one's sneaky. Most people over 60 eat something like toast, fruit, or cereal in the morning and call it a day. But guess what your muscles were doing all night while you were dreaming about flying or forgetting your high school locker combo? Breaking down. That overnight fast puts your body in a catabolic state. And if you start your day without enough protein, you're just continuing the muscle drain. The fix? Start your morning with 20 to 30 grams of high-quality protein like eggs, Greek yogurt, or even a scoop of whey in a smoothie. You'll notice more energy, fewer cravings, and muscles that thank you by not wobbling when you stand up. Mistake 3. Ignoring vitamin D and B12 deficiency. Now this one is the silent killer. I can't tell you how many patients walk in with mystery fatigue, weak legs, and poor balance, and it turns out they're just deficient in 2 basic vitamins. B12 is essential for nerve-muscle coordination, and D3 helps your muscles contract properly. Without them, it's like trying to send a text with no signal and no battery. Even if you eat healthy, age, medications, and gut absorption issues can block these vitamins from getting where they need to go. I had a patient who started supplementing both. 3 weeks later, he literally stood up from his chair and said, "Doc, my legs feel like someone turned them back on. That's not Magicet's biology done right." And now that you know what not to do, in the next section we're going to flip the script. Let's dive into exactly how to rebuild muscle fast with the right food combos and smart habits that actually work. Stick with me, your comeback story isn't finished yet. 9. The missing piece: lifestyle habits that maximize muscle retention. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Muscle retention isn't just about what you eat. It's also about what you do between meals. Yep, you could be eating eggs, salmon, and every last almond in the bulk bin. But if your lifestyle habits are off track, your muscles will still pack their bags and leave. Let's talk about the missing piece: the everyday routines that quietly keep your muscle engine running like a well-oiled rice cooker. Habit 1. Move it or lose it literally. I once had a patient, Mr. Yamamoto, a retired school principal in Tokyo. He prided himself on his clean diet: organic tofu, grilled mackerel, seaweed salad, the whole health-conscious works. But he'd sit most of the day watching shogi matches and sipping green tea. By his 75th birthday, he couldn't stand up from the floor without help. We ran tests. His protein intake was fine, but his muscle mass had dropped by 30% in just a few years. Why? Because muscles don't care how clean your food is if you're not using them. Even 20-30 minutes a day of light bodyweight exercises, think wall push-ups, leg raises, or walking laps around your living room, can flip the switch on muscle maintenance. Use it, or you know what happens. Habit 2. Hydration, the forgotten fuel. Picture this. A muscle is like a sponge. And if that sponge dries out, it cracks, tightens, and doesn't work well. Dehydrated muscle fibers are stiff, slow, and prone to cramps. And older adults, we lose our thirst signal. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So here's my rule. If your pee looks like weak lemonade, you're doing great. If it looks like brewed oolong tea, you need water. At least 68 cups a day. Add a pinch of sea salt or lemon if plain water feels boring. Hydration is not sexy, but your muscles love it. Habit 3. Sleep, the anabolic time machine. Let's bust a myth right now. Muscles don't grow while you're lifting weights. They grow when you're horizontal in bed during deep sleep. That's when your body releases growth hormone, repairs torn muscle fibers, and balances the hormones that control fat storage and insulin. If you're running on 5 hours of interrupted sleep each night, your body's trying to build muscle with a toolbox full of broken hammers. Aim for 79 hours, and protect that sleep like your favorite Netflix password. No late night sugar, no caffeine after 2 p.m., and please dim the lights after sunset. You're not filming a music video. You're preparing your body to heal. Now, let's tie it all together. Eat smart. Move often. Drink water. Sleep deep. Those aren't just lifestyle tips, they're the 4 cornerstones of muscle longevity. And coming up next, we're going to put it all into action with a 30-day comeback plan that's been a game changer for dozens of my older patients from Tokyo to Tennessee. Grab your pen or your smartphone notes app, because it's time to build your muscle blueprint. Ready? Let's go. 10. 30-day muscle comeback challenge. Join me. Alright, let's make it real. You've heard the science. You've seen what happens when muscles vanish. You now know exactly which foods fight back. But here's the deal: knowledge doesn't build muscle. Action does. So here's my personal challenge to you. 30 days. That's it. Just 1 month to start turning back the clock on muscle loss without a gym membership, without fancy powders, and definitely without that dusty treadmill in your garage doubling as a coat rack. We're calling it the 30-Day Muscle Comeback Challenge. And it's simple. Here's what we do. Step 1. Power up with the Big Five. Every day, include at least one muscle-building food from the Big Five you just learned. Eggs, fatty fish, leafy greens, Greek yogurt, lentils or lean meat. Yes, I count lentils. I live in Japan. We respect our legumes. Step 2. Move every day, even just 10 minutes. No burpees, no backflips. Just intentional movement. Chair squats, wall push-ups, or walking the dog twice instead of once. If you can do more, great. If you can't, do what you can. Consistency is stronger than intensity. Step 3. Hydrate plus sleep like you mean it. Drink water like it's your job. And sleep like your muscles are being rebuilt every night, because they are. Step 4. Track your progress. Every week, jot down how you feel. Is standing up easier? Are your legs less shaky? Can you carry that laundry basket without praying to the joint gods? Tiny wins become big results. And listen, if my 78-year-old patient in Nagano can go from needing a cane to walking to the corner market unaided, you can absolutely reclaim your strength too. So are you in? If you are, type I'm in the comments below. I'll be checking. Let's build a community of strong, unstoppable seniors who refuse to sit back and fade away. And hey, if you found this video helpful, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs a little muscle mojo, and don't forget to subscribe for more weekly tips on aging well. This isn't about six-packs. This is about independence. This is about confidence. It's about getting up from that chair on your own and walking into the next chapter of life with strength. I'll see you back here soon. But until then, let's get to work.